This is CBC Vancouver News.
It was so scary.
British Columbians opened their doors to people forced out of Jasper by wildfires.
I'm just glad to get out safely and get here. Long bus ride last night.
But there is little space. Meanwhile, BC deals with its own wildfire emergency as over 400 blazes burn. And police arrest a suspect after 3 people were stabbed in downtown Vancouver in less than 15 minutes.
It's such a beautiful city, but yet when I come down here to do fun things, I feel always on edge or unsafe.
Hello, I'm Michelle Ghoussoub. Thanks for joining us. At least 10,000 people have now fled Jasper National Park in Western Alberta after a wildfire prompted a sudden evacuation late Monday night. The most concerning fire that's threatening the town is only about 12 kilometers away. As Georgie Smythe reports, many still rattled by the late night escape are now looking for places to stay in other parts of Alberta and BC.
I think we should just leave.
Jasper's famed forests in flames. Even as people fled, fire burned to the edges of their exit.
Look at this lineup. The only place to go apparently is west.
Late Monday night, an evacuation alert suddenly became an order to leave. The park packed with summer vacationers. As many as 25,000 residents and visitors were forced to drive through the night on a single highway through soot and darkness to safety.
Everybody waited hours and hours and hours, and it was horrible. It was awful for everybody involved.
I just got smokier and smokier, and the highway was just pretty busy, like just a long row of tail lights and a long row of lights behind us in the rearview mirror.
Wherever evacuees ended up, many spent the night sleeping in cars. Those that went west into BC are being asked to go back to Alberta. As the fire burns out of control, there are fears people are still hiking and camping in the area, unaware of the fire emergency.
If you have a way of contacting those in the backcountry, they should travel to reach a trailhead.
And within the town site, the RCMP spent the day convincing about 40 people to leave.
So there are still some residents that are in there. Police are actively going house to house, to apartments, speaking with these people and encouraging them to leave.
Alberta working closely with Parks Canada.
We told them that we were prepared to help in whichever way they need us to, and they're taking us up on that offer.
Winds and scorching temperatures are making for erratic fire behaviour.
Look at this.
And it could get even worse. Late in the day, the RCMP guided media through the park until it got too dangerous.
So yeah, it's a very volatile and evolving situation.
Another fire east of the town was growing too fast. The job of protecting the people and the park not over yet. Georgie Smythe, CBC News, Vancouver.
Meanwhile, the CBC's Liam Britton is in Kamloops, taking a closer look at that difficult journey out of Jasper and the uncertainty many faced even after getting to safety.
As night hit in Jasper, it was clear something was wrong.
You're just getting hit with ash in your face, on your arm, ash that was still on fire.
Returning from a hike on a trip with his mom, dad, and brother, Isaac Neustadt said their holiday took a sudden turn as the out-of-control wildfire approached, forcing them to flee in a matter of minutes.
We kind of realized that the road to Kamloops was our only hope. We couldn't go anywhere else.
Kamloops, one of the main destinations for evacuees, most forced to take the only safe highway out of town. Parks Canada says the majority were tourists visiting Jasper at the height of the season, now left in limbo.
Seeing everybody that's coming, they're crying, they're upset.
The tiny village of Valemont, BC also took people in, but the community hall reached capacity within hours, so locals stepped up, including the operators of an RV lot, saying they opened their property to more than 500 people.
They're in a situation right now that none of us in Canada can understand unless you are going through it. So we're just trying to ease a little bit of their pain.
BC is dealing with a raging wildfire season of its own. Officials telling out-of-province evacuees they can't stay here. Albertans were advised to drive a circuit of BC highways and make their way to Calgary or Grand Prairie. Still, The risk of more fires and more evacuations looms large. Some forced to flee, seeing the best of a dire situation.
By the time they actually issued the order, it was just sort of chaos. But I mean, they were doing the best they could, and they got everybody out.
The CBC's Liam Britton reporting from Kamloops tonight. Now to some of the wildfires burning in this province. There are 431 burning, and over 100 of those started within the past 24 hours. Let's go first to Williams Lake. Parts of that community are under evacuation alert because of the River Valley wildfire burning nearby. That fire is sitting at around 40 hectares, but it is being held at this time, which means crews don't expect it to expand. Rain has also stemmed the spread of fires near Barkerville and Wells. Those two communities in the Caribou region are under evacuation order because of the Antler Creek wildfire to the southeast. But that fire could see growth, and it may merge with other smaller fires in the area. Now to a wildfire of note. The Shetland Creek fire has thousands of people on alert in Ashcroft. 6 homes have been destroyed by that blaze, and other structures have been lost. It last measured at 200 square kilometers. Highway 1 has reopened between Ashcroft and Spence's Bridge after a 2-day closure, but it could close again on short notice. Wildfire smoke is blanketing large parts of the province, and that smoke can travel large distances with little warning. So how do you stay safe when air quality is poor? Maurice Katz breaks down some of the ways to keep you and your loved ones healthy.
With intense wildfire seasons unfortunately becoming the norm, so has smoky, hazy air every summer. But how harmful is it to our health, and how can we protect ourselves? Wildfire smoke contains harmful particles that pose serious health risks, especially for those with existing heart and lung conditions and vulnerable populations like babies, children, seniors, and pregnant people. Even for healthy adults, exposure is risky. Health Canada says there's no evidence to show smoke exposure is safe at any level. Okay, but what should you do? Health Canada says the best way to protect your health is to reduce smoke exposure and recommends staying inside and closing your windows on smoky days. If you do need to leave the house, check the air quality index first. But should you have an air purifier? Health Canada does recommend using air purifiers, but they don't need to be expensive to work. There are instructions online on how to make your own air purifier with a box fan, an air filter, and some cardboard. What about wearing a mask outside? Will that help? If you do have to spend time outside, Health Canada recommends a well-fitted N95 or equivalent respirator-type mask, but warns that the mask filters out the fine particles, but not other gases from the smoke. But what about our mental health? In some places near extreme wildfires, heavy smoke-filled air can last days and even weeks. Officials acknowledge that that can really chip away at your mental well-being. A study with 30 residents in Yellowknife, which experiences wildfires every year, showed the decrease in physical activity and being outside in nature was making people anxious and irritable. Health Canada says eating well, getting enough sleep, and keeping in touch with your friends and family can help ease some of the stress and anxiety from wildfire smoke. Maurice Katz, CBC News, Vancouver.
Police say the deaths of 2 young women whose bodies washed up on the shores of English Bay are not believed to be connected. The first woman's body was found Sunday on Sunset Beach. The cause of her death remains unknown, and police are not releasing her name at this time. The second woman's body was found near Kitts Beach on Monday. Criminality is not suspected in her death, and police say out of respect to her loved ones, they will not share more details about her identity or how she died. They say the deaths have unsettled the community and are asking anyone with information to contact the Major Crimes Unit. Vancouver police say they've arrested a suspect after 3 people were stabbed in downtown Vancouver last night in less than 15 minutes. The VPD says at 9:40 p.m., officers responded to reports a 33-year-old man had been stabbed in the back on Granville Street near Nelson. Minutes later, someone called 911, reporting a 41-year-old man had been stabbed near Granville and Davie. Then at 9:52, the force says a 32-year-old man was stabbed near Granville and Nelson. Officers say they arrested a suspect downtown. The 3 victims are recovering, though it's not clear how badly they were hurt. It says it doesn't appear that any of the victims knew each other or the suspect.
Like when we work late at night, most people don't feel safe. You come down here and you don't necessarily feel, the best.
Do I feel safe? as safe as the next person, I think.
It's such a beautiful city, but yet when I come down here to do fun things, I feel always on edge or unsafe.
Vancouver Mayor Ken Sims says the events have shaken the community, and the city is committed to the safety of every Vancouverite. The Vancouver business owner says they're grateful after a TransLink bus driver stopped what appeared to be an arson early in the morning. The fire happened just before 2 a.m. outside Les Amis du Fromage on East Hastings. The owner says the bus driver got there 4 minutes after the fire started and doused it with a fire extinguisher. He says the right side of the building is burnt and a sign is partially melted, but the repairs will be under $1,000.
I think it took a couple hours to sink in that really we might not have had the store open today and might not have all had any work to do or a job if it weren't for that bus driver.
TransLink congratulated the bus driver who went out of his way to stop the fire. Vancouver Fire Rescue also responded to make sure the area was safe. The owner says things like this don't normally happen in the neighborhood, and the shop has filed a report with police. The BC government is making progress on the project to replace the George Massey Tunnel, otherwise known as the Fraser River Tunnel Project. It has selected a firm to make way on the design as the project heads into its development phase. BC has selected Cross Fraser Partnership to help finalize the design. Here's what the tunnel is proposed to look like: a toll-free 8-lane immersed tube tunnel. It'll have general purpose travel lane and a lane for public transit on both sides, plus a multi-use path for walking and biking. Major construction is set to start in 2026. The heat wave has led locals in Kamloops to seek out unique ways to stay cool and build community. Stay with us for that. Welcome back. If your neighborhood, your commute, or your city have a certain musk, you're not alone. What you smell and what you do about it is a subject of new published findings from a UBC citizen-driven data project. For the past 4 years, Smell Vancouver has used crowdsourced data to better understand odors and air quality right across Metro Vancouver. Chad Pawson has more.
Maybe it's a whiff from a meat processing plant here in East Vancouver, or the strong smell of garbage, or a burning chemical smell. Where you reside and what you smell can affect the way you live your life.
Right now it's a little fishy, a little bit like sewage and garbage. So those are the fun smells I'm experiencing as I'm visiting.
Like maybe it smells like dog pee a little bit. Yeah, I feel like it's worse when it's a little warmer.
In some part of downtown, like, it does get smelly sometimes. I will avoid those areas.
Understanding the odors we smell in the places where we live has been the goal of a UBC project for the past 4 years.
The fact is, odors matter a lot. They're not just a nuisance. They affect property prices. They affect your quality of life, whether you can use your patio or not. So it's a very important factor in decision making on a day-to-day basis.
Metro Vancouver does collect odor data, but Smell Vancouver has gone a step further, making what it collects available online in real time. It also asks app users about what they are smelling and how it's affecting them.
What we've done is we've sort of gone beyond, and we're focusing on the human experience of odors.
App users report all manner of smells, rotten smells, burning smells, chemical odors. Many are related to known sources, such as a landfill or industrial activities. Time of year also affects what people are smelling. Summer months are dominated by rotten odors, while colder months, a mix of burning and chemical odors. People reporting odors to Smell Vancouver also reported how they cope with the smells. Most closed a window or turned on an air purifier, while others went inside, made a complaint. Some were forced to stop exercising. Some tried to mask the smell, while a small percentage avoided the smell by actually moving away. The UBC team has published their initial findings, and officials with the regional government are paying attention. It receives up to 4,000 complaints about air quality a year.
Many of us who work in technical subjects realize the value of having many on-the-ground observers being able to provide information, and that's the level of data that we couldn't possibly collect with our traditional instrumentation.
Metro Vancouver is using so-called citizen science in other ways, tapping into commercially available sensors residents place on their homes that record air quality in places governments cannot.
You look at Metro Vancouver, for example, and there are certainly dozens, if not maybe 100 of these sorts of sensors already out there publicly displaying data.
Those behind Smell Vancouver say data like this is critical to understand air quality and pollution. Here's an example of why you should report what your nose picks up on. In January, Smell Vancouver provided unique information for an event that was shrouded in uncertainty. It showed dozens of reports in real time about a strange chemical odor across the region. It was the first meaningful information about an emissions incident at the Burnaby refinery.
What you saw is the moment that refinery had a leak, you saw hundreds of complaints coming in to our app, which were well ahead of official notifications or any air quality statements that, for example, the company made or Metro Vancouver made.
Smell Vancouver plans to keep going and wants more data to come through its app, especially from people living in poorer or more vulnerable neighborhoods. That's so a more complete bouquet of Vancouver's smellscape can be mapped and help with policies that will keep residents breathing easy. Chad Pawson, CBC News, Vancouver.
Sweltering 40-degree temperatures in the interior recently inspired locals to find unique ways to stay cool. At the MacArthur Island Sport and Event Centre in Kamloops, a group of new immigrants are learning to speed skate. It's part of a program called Skating with International Friends Together. Take a look.
Camila Mahia moved to Kamloops from Colombia 2 years ago. She started to speed skate right away, tentatively at first.
I was never on ice. I saw fake ice in a mall once, and the first time I fell a lot, And then after 10 minutes went by, I kind of like started skating horribly, but I started skating. I kind of get really stressed in competitions, and I'd be like really stressed if I went to the Olympics, so I just want to beat Leah.
We moved here to Canada 2 years ago, and I think that having the chance of joining the Kamloops Longblades is a nice opportunity for her to get integrated with the Canadian culture. That's very important to us, so cross-cultural experience. And then I also believe it's super important that she's getting to be much more disciplined, structured, that she has a purpose, so everything is positive.
Arvind is a TRU international business student. He started inline skating in India at the age of 2. He even competed and won at state and national level competitions back home.
Over in India, there is no much of snow or ice that we can see. It's in tropical region. It's a hot place. I felt really excited, and it was kind of different footy, like different pitch and everything. So yeah, it was kind of trembling at first. As soon as like couple of practice, yeah, I started to move along with the groove. That's it. Skating is like part of my happiness.
This program started 3 years ago with a $10,000 donation that bought 10 sets of skates and protective equipment for 10 kids. The fundraising now is to pay for their registration. So we wondered, are there any Olympic hopefuls in this speed skating team of new Canadians?
We just do it to build community. We see how it's our own skaters relating to people that have come from all over the world, different places. We see the new Canadians feeling a place where they're welcome, where they're learning new things, where they're excited. They may never have seen ice before. People don't even know like how to put their gear on or anything, right? Because they've never seen it before. So it's really fun. It's really fun, and the skaters and the parents are really appreciative, and that makes it really worthwhile for us.
Shelley Joyce, CBC News, Kamloops.
Here's a live shot of Burrard Inlet facing the North Shore. Russ will have your full forecast next.
Hi, I'm Amy Bell, and here's what's in your CBC Vancouver inbox.
Applications are now open for CBC's Indigenous Pathways to Journalism program. This paid 9-month learning and development opportunity supports Indigenous candidates to really hone their skills as storytellers. Indigenous Pathways provides journalism training, career development support, and work experience. Applicants do not require journalism education or experience to apply. Learn more at cbc.ca/pathways.
The weather update is brought to you by Direct Buy Furnace. To cool and clean the air in your home, call Direct Buy Furnace. Installing Trane, the most reliable heating and cooling brand.
And Russ Lacate joins us now for a look at the forecast. Russ, we saw quite a few new fire starts over the past 24 hours.
Yeah, a lot of lightning activity, those severe thunderstorms that ripped through parts of the central interior, off towards the Peace District, the northeast part of the province as well. We saw a repeat earlier today. They're now moving out of the region. That's good news. A lot of active fires going on. The one that's leading the news today, of course, was the evacuations around Jasper. I've got some good news embedded in the forecast for our neighbors there in parts of southern Alberta as well. I want to show you this one graphic. This is the change in just 24 hours from yesterday this time to today in terms of the fire danger rating. Look at how much it has dropped off over the northern half of the province due to some of the heavy downpours embedded with those thunderstorms yesterday. So yes, the lightning was creating new fire starts, but the ability for those fires to hang on is now being diminished as our fire danger rating is lowering. And here's the real weather maker, the difference maker, if you will, the double-barreled low sweeping up the moisture. All these active thunderstorms earlier today, they're all dying down during the night, but wrapping around that offshore low, a huge plume of moisture. There are rainfall warnings up across north and northwestern BC for rainfall amounts in the neighborhood of 50 to 100 millimeters. We're seeing stream flow increasing as well. Around the same low, it's not that huge plume of moisture. It's a smaller scale one right here. You can probably pick up on the satellite loop. It's going to jump across the central coast and produce some precipitation through the central interior and towards those trouble spots where the fires have been really raging the past couple of days as well. Not as much during the daylight hours tomorrow. Bella Coola, a cool 18 in the rain. Very few showers really for the central interior and parts of the Caribou. Maybe some intermittent breaks of clearing in between. The difference maker is heavy rain moving towards the Jasper region late Wednesday night into Thursday morning. It might be 10 to 20 millimeters of rain. Metro Vancouver, a couple of showers Wednesday night and Thursday morning. Other than that, you're dry right through the weekend. Temperatures in the low 20s.
That rain will be so welcome to people in those fire zones.
We need that, absolutely.
Thanks, Russ. And that is your late news for Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. For news anytime, you can visit our website. That's cbc.ca/BC. Your next local news will be on the early edition on CBC Radio 1, and that starts tomorrow morning at 5:30, and that will have all the latest information on the wildfires burning across this province. Good night.